Nearly 1 in 5 Dallas home deals fell through last month. Dallas ranked 9th nationally while Fort Worth ranked 5th. And 47% of homes in Salina have slashed their prices just trying to compete. Now, my name is Levi and I've been in the Dallas real estate market for over 20 years, and today I'm breaking down the current price cut spikes and where concessions are the largest. So whether you're buying or selling, this could actually save you 6 figures. Now, first of all, price cuts are spiking, and here's something that people don't realize is that sellers aren't dropping their prices all at once. They're kind of doing this in this 3-step pattern that could end up costing them thousands. So as of September of 2025, about 33% of active listings in Dallas had a price drop. So that's 1 in 3 homes. But it gets a little bit even crazier in the suburbs. I mean, in North Dallas areas with a ton of new construction, places like Prosper, Frisco, Salina, Aubrey, Little Elm, Princeton, even down south in Forney or even Rockwall, resale homes are struggling to compete. And in Salina alone, 47% of listings had a price reduction. Frisco's at 37.6%, Prosper's at 33.7%, and these areas were booming just a couple of years ago. But here's the pattern that I'm seeing is that whenever a home is overpriced, most sellers do it in small steps. The first reduction is about 1% after a few weeks with little activity. Second, the reduction is another 1% when showing stay slow. And then third reduction is a bigger cut, usually 2 to 3%, once they realize smaller drops aren't attracting those buyers. But wait until you see what builders are doing to compete with these resale homes. Their incentives that they're offering right now are pretty crazy, and I'm going to break that down here in just a few minutes. Now, so if a home listed like $600,000, the first cut will bring it down to about $594,000. The second cut would bring it down to about $588,000. Then the third cut would drop it to about $575,000, which is about a 2.2% reduction. But here's the deal. By the time you get to that third price cut, buyers start wondering what's wrong with the house. I mean, you've been on the market for probably weeks, maybe even months, and people, they start to question whether there's some sort of hidden issue. And so this really matters because timing your price cuts wrong could actually cost you way more than the actual reduction. So for sellers, getting it right the first time means you capture the buyer interest while your listing still feels fresh. I mean, for buyers, understanding this pattern helps you identify which sellers are actually truly motivated. And you know that this pricing pressure is really creating the exact environment where concessions have now become the new normal. And that's what's completely flipped from just a couple of years ago. Sellers are now offering deals to close transactions. I mean, you could get rate buydowns, closing cost credits, inspection repairs, appliance packages, even HVAC credits. I mean, sellers are willing to negotiate on practically everything right now. Just a couple of years ago, sellers would have laughed if you asked for any of this. And of course, here's why, is because sellers are terrified of going back on market. I mean, once a home falls out of contract and goes back on the market, it's kind of like having a scarlet letter. I mean, sellers would rather give up a few $1,000s in concessions than risk that sort of stigma. But I'm seeing sellers offer to cover inspection repairs up front. I mean, they're throwing in $5,000 to $10,000 in closing cost credits. Some are even offering to pay down the buyer's interest rates, which you can do that with closing costs, and that could save a buyer hundreds of dollars every single month. And by the way, with our buyers this year alone, we have averaged $10,000 under listing price and $20,000 in concessions, while not a single buyer has had to pay our commission. And you're going to want to keep that in mind when we talk about the buyer strategies that are going to be coming up here in just a minute, because knowing how to stack these concessions with builder incentives could actually save you a lot of money. And if you think about this, like 2 years ago, buyers were skipping inspections and offering $50,000 or even $100,000 over asking price just to compete. Now, sellers are paying part of your mortgage just to get you to close. So it's really common now to see seller concessions, especially for condos and new construction townhomes, with approximately 50% of all DFW home sales in 2025, including some form of seller concessions. And now we're seeing most sellers are now accepting contingencies, of course, like inspection, appraisal, and financing, and that's a complete 180 from the market just a couple of years ago when buyers had to waive everything just to compete. So this shift means that leverage has moved entirely to the buyer's side, and for buyers, this could be your opportunity to negotiate things you couldn't even touch just a couple of years ago. But for sellers, understanding that concessions are now expected helps you price them into your strategy from day one. And this type of willingness to deal is directly connected to how long homes are sitting, which is the next pressure point we really need to talk about. And if you're curious what this means for your specific situation, whether you're buying or selling, just feel free to reach out. All of my information is below or on the screen. I'd be glad to walk you through it. Now, here's the stats that are making some sellers kind of sweat it out. I mean, homes are now taking a little bit longer to sell compared to the pandemic era. I mean, homes in Dallas-Fort Worth are sitting on the market for a median of 60 days in Dallas and 53 days in Fort Worth right now. So that's about double the pandemic era pace when homes were, of course, selling much faster. But this kind of represents a massive jump from last year when Dallas homes averaged about 44 days on the market. And here's why this is happening is first of all, affordability. I mean, with interest rates still around 6 to 6.5%, buyers are being a lot more cautious. Now, second of all, buyers are comparing resale homes to what builders are offering. And of course, the builders are coming in pretty hot with aggressive incentives. And then third, there's just a lot more choice. I mean, buyers don't really feel rushed anymore. But here's the best part for buyers. You're getting inspections again. And maybe you remember when everyone was just skipping inspections just to compete. And so that time is over. I mean, you can actually find out if the house has problems before you buy it. And really, that's how it should be anyways. Now, for sellers, this extended time on market is tough to see. I mean, every week your home sits, you're paying the mortgage, you got utilities, HOA fees, insurance, all while watching buyers walk through and then possibly choose something else. So the bottom line is now that time is kind of against the seller and on the buyer's side. And for sellers, every extra week could cost money and credibility. And so for buyers, this timeline gives you actually the luxury of being a lot more selective. And this time pressure is exactly why builders have become such a competitor now, which brings us to the next challenge. And what if I told you that builders are offering interest rates with a full 2% lower than what you could get on your own? And that's the new reality that's also crushing resale listings. I mean, builders are offering permanent rate buydowns with interest rates as low as 3.99 to even 4.99%, well below the current market rates of around 6 to 6.5%. So on a $500,000 home, that difference could actually save a buyer $500 to $700 per month. But it doesn't stop there either. I mean, builders are also offering closing cost credits. I mean, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. They're throwing in free upgrades like high-end appliances. You got technology packages. You got smart home systems. You've got upgraded flooring. You've got better countertops. I mean, all this stuff would normally cost anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 extra. And here's the thing. I mean, if you're a resale seller trying to compete with that, I mean, that puts you in a pretty tough spot. I mean, you can't offer a 3.5% interest rate. You don't have the margin typically to throw in $30,000 worth of upgrades. So you have to compete on really value, emotion, and price is probably the most important. I mean, buyers are walking into model homes. They're seeing beautiful brand new spaces with every upgrade imaginable, locked in low interest rate, then comparing that to your resale home with older appliances and a 6.5% mortgage rate. So resale homes in the same price point, you've got to beat on value or emotion, or you just have to price under to try to compete, and that's just the reality. So the builder advantage matters because it's fundamentally changed what competitive pricing really means for resale homes. And for buyers, I mean, understanding what builders offer helps you negotiate better with resale sellers. So for sellers, you can't just price at market. You need to offer something that the builders can. And this type of competitive pressure is really showing up in the market data in some concerning ways. And those warning signs aren't really subtle anymore. I mean, in September of 2025, 17.7% of contracts in Dallas fell through, ranking the metro area 9th amongst the top 50 in the US market for cancellations. And Fort Worth is even worse at 18.7%, so that placed it 5th in the nation. And currently, we're sitting at 5.4 months of inventory, and that's the highest level we've seen in just a couple of decades. And we're approaching that 6-month mark that really defines a buyer's market, which is interesting to see. But these cancellations are happening because buyers are leveraging really their power now to demand more from sellers. And when sellers aren't willing to meet those demands, buyers, they can just walk away. So we're seeing more expireds and back on the market listings. We're seeing homes that tried to sell for 30, 60, or even 90 days and they didn't get traction. They're coming back up, usually with lower prices and more concessions. inspections. And the fall through rate is up too. I mean, more deals are falling apart during the inspection or appraisal phase because the buyers have the power to walk away. And in some suburbs, it's even worse. I mean, Salina has seen days on market increase from 131 days. That's up 63 days from a year earlier, and that's more than double the previous year. So that's a big reality check for sellers in that area. And these signals actually matter because they tell you where the market's headed, not where it's been. And for buyers, high inventory and cancellation rates means you have negotiating power you haven't had in the last couple of years. And for sellers, these warning signs really mean you need to be aggressive with pricing and realistic about concessions from day one. And really understanding these signals is essential for the buyer strategies we're about to cover. All right, so here's my advice for buyers. If you want to know the move that is saving buyers $15,000 or more right now, it's a lot simpler than you think, but most people aren't doing it. So first of all, you want to shop resale versus builders head to head. And don't just assume that new construction is always better. Sometimes resale homes in established neighborhoods have bigger lots, they've got better locations, more mature trees, a lot more character. But you have to compare the total cost of ownership, including that interest rate difference. Second, I mean, you should probably ask for everything. Seriously, I mean, ask for a rate buy down, ask for closing cost credits, ask for inspection credits, ask for repairs. I mean, we're getting our buyers, again, on average $10,000 under list price and average $20,000 in concessions on top of that, plus they don't have to pay our commission. So if you're looking at new construction, you should also be asking what incentives they're offering. I mean, sometimes they'll advertise a 2-1 buy down, but we might be able to get a permanent buy down versus just a temporary buy down. And of course, third, you can be patient. If the math doesn't work, walk away. I mean, with 5.5 months of inventory and home sitting for 60 to 70 days, you have time to think and compare. And then fourth, you can get a free inspection if you're serious about a property. Spending $400 or so on an inspection before you make an offer gives you huge leverage. I mean, you'll know exactly what's wrong and you can ask the seller to fix it or actually credit you before you even go under contract. But you don't want to do that too many times. So typically we go under contract first, do the inspection, and then come back to negotiate that. And fifth, possibly target homes that have been sitting for a little while. I mean, if a home's been on the market for 50, 60, 70, or even 90 days, the seller's probably getting a little nervous. They're probably a lot more motivated. You could also look for price drops. And that matters because this window, I don't think it'll last forever for buyers. This has really kind of been the best negotiating environment we've had in the last couple of years. And so these strategies work across all price points. And now that you know how to win as a buyer, I want to talk about what sellers need to do actually to get their home sold. All right, and here's the advice for sellers. If you're still pricing based on what sold 6 months ago, I mean, you've already lost. But here's the truth about what it really takes. First of all, you need to price to win against the builder next door, not last year's comp. So I can't really stress that enough. I mean, buyers are comparing your home to what builders are offering with 3.5% or even 4.5% interest rates and $30,000 worth of upgrades. So if your neighbor's house sold for $650 6 months ago, that number might not work anymore. And you got to look at what's actively selling right now. Pricing is the #1 strategy for sellers. And if you price correctly, there are buyers in the market. We just priced a $2.7 million home, priced correctly, and we went under contract within 3 days. And that home is now closing today as well, as a matter of fact. But as soon as you overprice, then it'll just sit. Second of all, you should front load emotional upgrades, and I'm talking about paint, floors, lighting, hardware, curb appeal. I mean, a fresh coat of paint throughout, I mean, that may cost $3 to $5K, but it will make your home feel completely brand new. I mean, new light fixtures or maybe even cabinet pulls. I mean, that could upgrade a kitchen tremendously. Pressure wash. If your house is dirty and dusty, you never know. I mean, clean the outside, plant some flowers, redo the landscaping. I mean, make your home look great again. And then third, you should actually get an inspection done on your home up front. That way you know what a buyer is actually going to find when they do an inspection, or that gives you the opportunity to fix the things that are incorrect, or you can know what you need to budget for as far as credits or be willing to give. But that can also help build trust with the buyer, and that can also speed up the closing process. But you know, getting an inspection done beforehand really lets you know what you're about to get into. And then fourth, if you have to chase the market with price cuts, drop once with purpose, right? Not 3 tiny cuts. If you're overpriced and you know it, just rip the band-aid off, right? And drop it enough to get attention. Multiple small price cuts just kind of makes you look desperate. But fifth, you need to be flexible on concessions. If a buyer asks for closing costs, a rate buy down, or repair credits, I mean, you need to consider it. I mean, those concessions might cost you a few $1,000s, but they beat carrying cost and then the problems of going back on the market again. Now, I know this may be hard to hear, but buyers, they seem like they're waiting for 2.5% interest rates again, and sellers want 2022 pricing and bidding wars of $50,000 over ask, and that's just not it anymore. Sellers who accept that and adjust their strategy are the ones that are getting their home sold. But this strategy matters because fighting the market costs you money every single day. The market rewards sellers who understand the new rules, and it punishes those that don't. And whether you're buying or selling, having really expert guidance through this transition really makes all the difference. So with price cuts spiking, contracts falling through, homes sitting twice as long, I mean, this is the best buyer's market we've seen in years. And for sellers, the ones who adapt fast are the ones that are getting deals done. So if you're serious about making a move in the Dallas market, I mean, why wait? My team and I are tracking these shifts every single day, and we know exactly which neighborhoods still have leverage and which ones are getting colder. But we've helped over 500 families relocate to Dallas alone just within the last couple of years. We're the #1 relocation team in all of Dallas, Texas. So timing does matter, and we can find a deal in any market no matter what. So feel free to reach out. All of my information is below or in the description. On business partner Travis, myself, the team, we'd be very happy to help you make a smooth move to Dallas. And also check out this video where I break down the best spots at every single price point and where I'd move if I was relocating today.